Network radio station.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in on this beautiful Monday afternoon. And we're going to do what we do here every Monday, and that's learn more about the Constitution of the Bahamas. Today is a Masterclass Monday, and just walking into the studio is the one and only Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson, who is going to continue guiding us in all things constitutional. Welcome back, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm. Good afternoon, Bahamas. It's good to be here on a Monday.
Now, I need you to bring your chair more this way
Yes,
so that
ma'am.
we can see you on the camera. There we go.
Okay.
And Jason, come adjust
Like
the
this?
microphone,
Oh.
please, so that he can, it can be closer to his
Right.
mouth.
Yeah.
All right, so we can make sure our audience can hear him okay, but bring it up, son. Bring it up so that it's closer to, there you go. That's a little better than what it was.
Thank you.
Because we got to make sure we can hear everything what you got to say, Professor.
Well, I agree with you.
How
In
you
fact,
doing?
I am so delighted to see that Bahamians are taking such an active interest in the Constitution.
I know.
Everywhere I go,
This is-
everybody wants to talk about the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
This is a good thing.
It's a wonderful thing. I waited 50 years, Ms. Malcolm, for this wonderful opportunity, which only comes once in a lifetime. 50th anniversary next year.
Well, I'm glad to be a part of the process.
I am so happy to be a part of it too. And we're going to encourage as many people.
Hmm.
I had them saying get to know the neighbors.
Right.
But what has happened over 50 years plus is that people have gotten into people's personal affairs, which have caused a whole lot of problems. And I could tell people plainly, I know husbands and wives for more than 50 years.
Uh-huh.
Didn't know that was the husband, didn't know that was the wife, because they ain't tell me nothing. So how are you supposed to know?
Well, I just read a scripture, it was yesterday, and in essence it says, and I'm putting it in modern day language, but
Yes.
getting involved in people's private affairs is the same as pulling the ears of a dog.
Yes.
So,
The thing is, I've said to people, and this is why I say, if you don't know how to get on with your neighbors in your community, fine. You can always ask someone who knows.
right.
I got 50 years plus experience. And I've known these people for decades, Ms. Malcolm.
Uh-huh.
Very close to the wife.
Okay.
Very, very close to the husband.
Okay.
But they ain't tell me nothing, so I was supposed to know. And that has been constant for 50 years plus. and never had a problem with it because I never get into people's personal affairs,
Right.
even with my own family members, my own nephews, my own grandnephews and grandnieces. And I got great grand too, you know. But the thing is that they have their personal lives to live. Now, as a justice of peace, they'll tell you all kinds of things. But
Mhm.
mouth can't talk it to nobody.
You better not.
I better not, yes. So I got to go to sleep and pray and ask the Lord to help me to forget it. And I move forward from there. But it's good to know people. But at the same time, we have to do it because we have plenty work to do to build this country.
Yes, sir.
And so we cannot get personal in people's private affairs. Just leave that part alone. Let's get together with that, which is common. There are many things that are common to us in a given community, in a given constituency, and in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
All right. Good way to start. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
where did we stop last week?
Boy, I don't remember, but just look at those.
I see.
what
I
gave
see what
you.
you've given me. You've given me Article 9 too, but I don't know. Did we get that far?
No, we didn't get. We did. I gave you have 9-1.
Okay.
I gave you 9-1. Yeah.
And I have that in my my laptop case.
Yeah.
Okay, so the telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line is 8010271, 8010271. So I think we completed 8.
8. We complete 8.
Right.
We start 9.
So let's start 9-1. So let
Yes,
me
ma'am.
just start by reading it,
Yes.
and then we'll dive into the questions. Okay, so Article 9-1 says, notwithstanding anything contained in Article 8 of this Constitution.
Yes.
So let me start from reading 8
Yeah,
then.
you should read 8. Yeah.
Okay, so here's 8. A person born outside the Bahamas after the 9th of July, 1973, shall become a citizen of the Bahamas at the date of his birth, if at that date his father is a citizen of the Bahamas, otherwise than by virtue of this article or Article 3.2 of the Constitution.
And I'd like for you to go to 3-2.
Okay?
In fact, 3-1 and 3-2.
Okay, so let me go
Yeah.
there now. Okay, so this is 3.1.
Yes.
Every person who, having been born in the former colony of the Bahama Islands, is on 9th July 1973 a citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies, shall become a citizen of the Bahamas on 10th July 1973. That's
Yes.
3.1. 3.2
3-1.
says, every person who, having been born outside the former colony of the Bahama Islands, is on 9th July 1973 a citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies, shall, if his father becomes or would but for his death have become a citizen of the Bahamas in accordance with the provisions of the preceding paragraph, become a citizen of the Bahamas on 10th July 1973. That's 3.1 and 3.2.
Right.
Now let's
Now
go
that-
back to 8. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
That preceding paragraph,
Uh-huh.
the details in 3-1 ties in with 3-2
Right.
and ties in with where we're going now.
Okay, so let me
So that's
read
the background.
let me read 8 now.
Yes.
A person born outside the Bahamas after 9th July 1973 shall become a citizen of the Bahamas at the date of his birth, if at that time his father is a citizen of the Bahamas, otherwise than by virtue of this article or Article 3.2 of the Constitution.
Yes.
Now, we covered that last week.
Yes, we did.
9.1 says, notwithstanding anything contained in Article 8, which I just read,
Yes.
of this Constitution, a person born legitimately outside the Bahamas after 9th July 1973, whose mother is a citizen of the Bahamas, shall be entitled upon making application on his attaining the age of 18 years and before he attains the age of 21 years, in such manner as may be prescribed, to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas. I will read that again.
Yes.
Notwithstanding anything contained in Article 8 of this Constitution, a person born legitimately outside the Bahamas after 9th July 1973, whose mother is a citizen of the Bahamas, shall be entitled upon making application on his attaining the age of 18 years and before he attains the age of 21 years, in such manner as may be prescribed to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas.
Correct.
Okay, so let's break this down.
Mhm.
I think a key part of this is a person born legitimately, correct? Outside
Yes.
the Bahamas.
Outside
So
the
in other
Bahamas.
words,
That's 2 points, right?
yeah. So, okay, so you have to be born within a marriage. That's what legitimately means,
There.
correct?
Yes, of course it does.
And you have to be born outside the Bahamas
That's
to a
correct.
Bahamian mother for this to apply.
Right.
Okay. And you only got 3 years.
That's what the law says. And no statute law could change it.
Okay.
So you see, what has to happen is I think people fail to understand. There are certain restrictions. You see, they talk about the father first.
Right.
Specific details relating to the father, now specific details relating to the mother. And I believe we're not paying attention to the details that the Constitution spells out
Okay.
for the mother, in this case now, since we're dealing with the mother,
Mm-hmm.
and the father. Okay, so under certain conditions, certain things apply, either it would be for you or against you.
Right.
You have to meet certain conditions. And so the mixing up comes up when people do not pay attention to detail. And I think this has caused us a lot of problems over the last years because we've not paid attention to detail, and too many of our people, we got some problems right now happening in our country,
Mm-hmm.
in the Department of Immigration, in the passport office,
Mm-hmm.
where things are wrong, Ms. Malcolm, because people are not paying attention to the constitutional details.
Either they ain't paying attention or they don't
Or
care
they
because they are
don't
making
care.
some money.
Maybe so. Yes, I'm not going to dispute that, because the thing is that if we were paying attention to the details as contained in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and we had responsible, reliable, dependable people, because this is a big problem in our country, citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
It should not be. It should not be a burden to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, but it
Right.
is
Right.
a huge one. From some people who were never a part of, and you know, there's all the articles we went through, we can go all the way up to 11, you ain't seen nothing about them people. Okay? There is not there. And I ask, and I keep saying, where is the constitutional evidence for this deluge, this flood?
Mm-hmm.
Where it came from? I don't see it in the document. You go all the way up to the 11. And then when we cover 12, you'll see what happens there. But all I'm simply saying is there is nothing in the articles up to 9.1
Mm-hmm.
which indicate in any way, shape, or form that here you have a large influx of people who claim they have a right to be here,
Right.
not backed by the Constitution. And so I have a problem with these claims by these particular personalities who have their own place, but want to come somewhere else where they don't belong to be claiming citizenship in somebody else's country.
Mm-hmm.
That cannot be right. But it has happened. It's a real problem. The government of the Bahamas has got to deal with it. The citizenry has to put the kind of pressure on your representative in the House of Assembly and on the government of the Bahamas to do what is right. We just can't sit back and say they're going to do. No. We have to tell them. We have to let the government know when they're going contrary to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's why people need to know the document. So we could say, Mr. Prime Minister, no, sir, it don't go that way. Mr. MP or House of Assembly representative, it doesn't go that way. No, sir. We have, and we got to tell them about these, that I don't know what kind of policies they have because they're not publicly known. It is the duty of the government of the Bahamas
Mm-hmm.
to educate the Bahamian people on these important issues. Now, if they fail to do it, then you got to be like me. You got to go and search for it and get it and work with it and encourage others to do things constitutionally. Now, I will say this. There are people who are saying all kinds of things. I hear it all the time on the radio and conversations. And I simply say, I won't call them ignorant or other harsh words that people use.
Mhm.
I say they lack understanding.
Mhm.
See, I know better. They lack knowledge of the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. So they are hearing what someone told them, what someone told that person, and what someone told that person to that person, to the next person. No, it don't go that way.
Right.
But we have to correct it. And this is a golden time where this awakening, oh, praise God for this awakening. I am so delighted. I tell people now, all I'm doing is studying and working even more diligently as a constitutional professor to assist the Bahamian people to make sound decisions and good good statements. The thing is that we have to help our elected personalities. You already have a government in place.
Right.
Well, that's the government of the Bahamas. Now, some may call it something else, but I ain't interested in that. The Constitution says the government of the Bahamas, the member of parliament, representative of the people of that particular constituency.
Right.
That's what the Constitution says. So I say to people, stick with your Constitution. It is never wrong. You might disagree with it, but that's a different issue. It is always right. It is never, ever wrong. So people need to use that as a base. That's your foundation right there. This document is always right. And so we have to work with it until such time as the people decide they want to change it. I ain't got no problem with it as is. Now, there's some things that have to be done, which, of course, we'll talk later on. But the thing is that it's important that the Bahamian people have a basic, fundamental understanding of the contents of this document, so they'll be able to make sound decisions, good judgment. That's what I wanted to say. Good judgment. You know, so there are many things in my head.
Right.
I try to get it straight.
Gotcha.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Okay, so let's break down this 9-1 now.
Yes, ma'am.
So the pivotal date for births outside the Bahamas to Bahamian women, as far as 9-1 is concerned, would be
after July the 9th.
After July 9th, 1973. And we've already established that the Bahamian woman has to be married in order for this to apply. Now, does it matter whether she's married to a Bahamian or non-Bahamian, or she just has to be married?
She has to be married.
Don't matter to who?
Doesn't matter to who.
Okay. So her child is born outside the Bahamas.
Yes.
And they are only able to apply for Bahamian citizenship at what point?
At what point? 18, but before
at the
they
age
turn
of 18,
21.
but before they turn 21.
Within, now let me elaborate on that, Ms. Malcolm.
Please do.
Within that required period of time.
Right.
If they fail to do so, according to the Constitution, you can't qualify. I don't care what kind of argument anybody brings up. It gives you a specific time frame. You know, people, they don't understand the importance of time.
So if my birthday is July 16th, and on July 16th, I turn 21, and I show up in the office on July 18th, dog eat my lunch.
18 to 21, before you turn 21.
Right.
That's what the law says.
Well,
that's your problem. That ain't my problem. That's not the nation's
problem.
You all
ain't give me no grace?
But under the law, you don't get no grace. There's no such thing as grace under the law. That's a whole horse of a different color. The law is the law. If it says 50 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, not 20 miles an hour. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
See, the law points out what you ought to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right? That's what this Constitution does. It says how we are to be as a people.
Right.
Here are specific guidelines relating to children born to a Bahamian mother who have them outside the country, married to a husband. This is what applies. See, here's another thing, Ms. Malcolm. Let me just say this while I remember. There are some people who believe that they ought to have a constitution could fit in their back pocket and say, I can pull it out when I need it. I don't want such a constitution. We need a constitution, and this one fits the bill, that is fair to all, because it says every person in the country has a place. Now, them fellows who are illegally now, you know what to do with them. Round them up, send them out. They have no legal right to be in the country.
Okay.
So let's get that part straight. But getting back to what we were discussing, the thing is that there are specific guidelines, unfortunately, that people fail to do. And then they want to blame the authorities and say, well, I didn't know. Well, ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's what they tell me. So when the Constitution says 18, but before you turn 21, make sure you follow that. Don't come at 22 and say you want something, because some people do that, you know.
Right.
And they expect you to accommodate them. That is unconstitutional because it's contrary to the law.
We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning. Answer a question for the professor. Good morning to you.
Morning.
And the
Hi.
Good
professor.
afternoon.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Professor,
Yes, sir.
what if when you studied the Constitution and you know it by the guideline, what is written, and you find out the government who in, not going by the Constitution, what you do then? What you say then?
That's a good
I
question.
hang up and let you answer, sir.
I love those kind of questions. Because it causes you to think. What is, I'm going to answer him right now, Ms. Malcolm. What is the purpose of a national government? Do you want a government or an administration to be one that's always violating the Constitution? Your supreme law has no respect for it? I hope not, because I don't want that kind of thing at all.
Right.
The government of the Bahamas must, M-U-S-T, follow the Constitution. Now, in the event they're not following it, that's where the people come in. That's where your representative comes in. You put pressure on your representative, and I'm trying to get to my own right now because I have some things to say to him. I'll start with him first, then I got some other people I can deal with. But the point is, the government of the Bahamas has a duty. If it is acting unconstitutionally, it goes contrary to the wishes of the Bahamian people. See, they are not elected to do and act as they please. You know, some people believe, oh, they got 5 years to do and act. No such thing in the Constitution. The Constitution don't say they have no 5 years. Where they get that crap from? But I hear people say that all the time. I say, show it to me in the document. It's not there. Now, there is a period of time that an administration may have to do some things, but that ain't say that fellow who's sitting there now is going to be there a year from today. That's what you need to understand.
Okay.
So the thing is that the government of the Bahamas and the representative of each constituency is duty bound to follow the Constitution.
Right.
So you could tell them that right off the top. So when they are going contrary, it is the duty of the Bahamian people to correct them, to instruct them, to tell them, to pull them back in line, to whip them back in line, to beat them back in line, because we have the power to do that. Don't tell me no nonsense back for X number of years and say, oh, let them go on. That's the mistake they've been making for 50 years.
Yeah.
That's not constitutional.
And that's why they think once they get in there, all
They
power
could do
is
and act
there.
as they please. No,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
They're still servants of the Bahamian people.
Wow. Jason, put up some of the comments. Jason, go on and look at the comments and put mine up. What's the point of looking at them if you ain't gonna put them up? Not the banner, the comments, the comments. Okay. All right. So if you attain the age of 21 and you didn't go through the process, what are your options?
You have none.
You're trying to tell me I can never apply again?
What did the Constitution tell you?
Well, I know what the Constitution
Okay,
says.
then, but that's what it is. See, the problem with our people is we like to find excuses, you know. And the government is duty bound to follow the Constitution, not the women fancy of a minister or some person high up in society or someone who got some kind of influence or someone who got some money. That's not in the Constitution. That's why we have all these problems with Malcolm. Because we like to bend the rules. We like to bend the law. They need a fella like me around. I ain't bending for my own mother, my own father, my own brother, my own sister. I tell them no. If it's according to the Constitution, fine. I ain't going with nothing, absolutely nothing, that's contrary to this Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. Because when you start doing that, Ms. Malcolm, kisses go by favor. You're asking for plenty trouble. And we're in plenty trouble as it is now.
Kisses go by favor and kisses go by money.
Oh, yes. And that is not supported in your Constitution.
But that's another show.
Yeah, that's another show.
Okay, let's take this break. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. We're talking Constitution of the Bahamas today on this Masterclass Monday. Stay with us. This is GPS.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome. Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Less is love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
All right. Jason, take out the other one. I seem to be in the stream twice. So, take one of them out, please. The one without the microphone turned on. This is GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here in your company. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Masterclass Monday. We are talking to Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson, and we are going over the Constitution of the Bahamas line by line, article by article, with a view to helping you to better understand what is contained therein. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for text messages only is 8010271, 8010271. So we are in the process right now of breaking down Article 9.1 of the Constitution that deals with persons born outside the Bahamas after July 9th, 1973, who are born legitimately or within marriage to a Bahamian mother. And we've learned that that person at the age of 18 has the option to apply, but they only have a window until the age of 21. Once 21 hits, if they didn't make application within that time, according to the Constitution, that ship has sailed.
That's right.
So what happens if the applicant is a citizen of some other country? Do they still qualify?
No, they don't.
Okay, and that is because...
There's a process that they will have to go through.
Right.
If that is the case. But speaking frankly and openly, no, they don't qualify.
Okay.
They're a citizen of another country.
So we noticed that the word entitled is mentioned twice.
Yes.
Why is that important?
That's how the founding fathers put it in, meaning they have a right to whatever is said in 9.1.
Mm-hmm.
But according to certain conditions. There are certain stipulations mentioned in the article. The thing is that the entitlement could be for you, or you could not be entitled.
Okay.
Meaning that under certain conditions, for example, if this person has citizenship, no, sir. In another country, some other country, no way. They could not qualify. That's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to meet the specific qualifying standards. And I believe this is where we've made a mistake in handing out citizenship, like some people say, like candy, which I am offended by.
Okay.
Because citizenship is a privilege. It's a privilege from the Bahamian people, and it should not be taken lightly. And we should be looking at the quality of the people we are having to add to citizenry of this country.
Right.
It just can't be any and everybody. You want everybody, any and everybody in your house to do an act. See, they don't see it when it comes to their personal home, their personal place.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bahamas is our place. And if we discard that, that means our home is going to be invaded. And then you can get put out of your little house anyhow. And they can take that over too, because they're in your country now. So when you leave it open like that, it's open season for persons to come in, do an act as they please, get away with it, because you have a lawless society. And that's what people do who come from a broker place they have no respect for their own house, you expect them to have respect for yours? They won't. So that is something we need to look at very seriously. We cannot allow the government of the Bahamas to continue on the road it's going right now in dealing with citizenship. We got to tell them some things have to be very firm and very diligent with that. That is the way a citizen of the Bahamas ought to behave. You don't have to hate anybody. You ain't got to like them either. But the point is, you want them to do what is right, what is good, in the best interest of the Bahamian people. The Constitution speaks to that now. What is in the best interest of the Bahamian people? Because you see, a Constitution was designed for the benefit of the people.
Right.
It is the duty of the government of the Bahamas to make sure that whatever they do benefits the Bahamian people. Now, when only a few individuals and strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders are benefiting more than the citizenry, the indigenous Bahamian. Something's wrong with that, Ms. Malcolm, and Bahamians.
I'd say.
Seriously wrong. So we got to fix that.
Okay, so getting back to this whole question of somebody having citizenship outside the country.
Yes.
Are there any options to one such person who is a citizen of some other country under this article?
Yes.
And what are they?
They're going to have to, if they want to keep it, that's fine. But they will have to renounce, particularly the person born outside the Bahamas.
Right.
Because they still have that option now to apply, but they have to renounce that citizenship of that other country. Now, for some people, that's complex for them, or it's difficult for them to do it. They may say, well, another law from that other place doesn't allow me to renounce that citizenship. See, the Constitution doesn't support dual citizenship. It does not.
That was my next question.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come to that. But let me just say this. You're going to find, Ms. Malcolm, that people who have citizenship in more than one country, they're going to love one and hate the other, or just like one. And not.
I don't know how it happened, but I know several people who have two passports.
Yes.
One Bahamian, one U.S.
Yes.
And what they, I don't think that they love one more than the other, but it is a matter of convenience. So, for instance,
okay, you finish.
For instance, if they're traveling abroad and they're traveling through a territory where Americans might not necessarily be liked, they pull out their Bahamian passport and they get treated quite well as a Bahamian. But then when the circumstances are necessary for them, where they think the U.S. passport will be of benefit, they pull out the U.S. passport.
So what does that tell you about the character of that person?
Well, I ain't getting into that. But all I know is that they have the best of both worlds, it seems.
Well, let's put it this way. We know the Constitution doesn't support duality in citizenship.
Right.
It's clearly revealed. Now, I believe the government of the Bahamas has a duty to enforce it, to make sure that the law is applied. Now, if that person, see, Ms. Malcolm, in a situation like that, the Constitution talks about being loyal. Where's your loyalty? Your loyalty will have to be questioned because, see, it's a convenience. See, people want a Constitution where they put it right in their back pocket when they want to pull it out. Boom, I pull it out. It's convenient for me. No. You cannot and you ought not to have such a Constitution. That is of no use to me. Now, there are some things in it you may disagree with. I ain't got no problem with that. But the point is, if it's convenient, then I pull it out. If it ain't convenient, I push it back in. That's being selfish. It goes against the national interest of the Bahamian people for a person to behave that way. Now, if they want to be a citizen of that country, well, then fine, you go with them. But you're not going to be loyal, Ms. Malcolm. The country talks about loyalty. Where's your loyalty? Where's your commitment to what? And to whom? Now, those ideas I see written in the Constitution,
Mm.
How you can be loyal to them? When you're hanging between two. So I go in the way the wind blow, I go in there. If it ain't blowing that way, I ain't fooling with you. You're on your own. But that is a problem. That's why we have problems in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas with people like that. And most likely, they're going to go against the Bahamas in favor of that other country.
I don't know if it'll come to that. Honestly, the people who I know they love the Bahamas very, very much. It's just that they have the privilege of having a U.S. passport, and when they need to pull it out, they pull it out.
I hear that too. But the point is, it's going to come down. What happens there's a conflict between the two nations.
They gotta make a decision.
But they ain't make one. You see, you put people in limbo like that. That's why the government of Bahamas has to make a determination to tell these people, listen, you'd have one or the other. Because the Constitution don't support no duality. The point is the government of the Bahamas. See, this is why the people need to speak to the government, speak to the House of Representatives, your representative, House of Representatives. See, there are some things with Malcolm we've been playing games with for too long because it ain't convenient for you or it's convenient for somebody else. And so how do they benefit? They benefit at our expense. What about those people who are loyal to the Bahamas? What about them? And you got some who claim to be Bahamian, right? They got the book and the passport and they got it. I'm not knocking that, but what I'm saying is, where is your commitment? You can't be committed to the two. Because I'm going to tell you in very short order, some may not see it now, but I see it looming ahead, where the loyalty of Bahamians are going to be severely tried and severely tested like we've never had before. Because we've been playing games. God say, okay, no problem. I can fix this. And when it comes down on you, Miss Malcolm, you haven't done it in decades. You think you can do it then? That's how a country falls down. That's how the Roman Empire fell, from within. Now, I don't want to see that happen in the Bahamas.
Right.
Because I'm here. And I got plenty of people here who want a good life in the Bahamas. Now, I'm not grudging those people who say they got, quote unquote, that privilege. That's not a here nor there to me. What the Constitution says is what's important. Now, if the government of the Bahamas takes a lax attitude toward that or citizenship in any other country, that's contrary to the Constitution. So I think we need to fix it. The people have to decide either you are here or you want to be there. One of the two. And then you make up your mind what you want. That's your choice.
So if a person finds himself in a position where they have citizenship in more than one nation, what happens then? They, in essence, what you're saying is they have to make a choice between the two.
They have to make a choice between the two. And the government should insist that they do so, because the Constitution doesn't support duality of citizenship. It just doesn't.
Well, Mr. Thompson, you know we ain't that organized to know who got double citizenship.
We ain't that organized?
No, we barely know who got Bahamian passport, much less any other passport.
But let's put it this way. We better get organized because we're going to come to some severe testing. And Ms. Malcolm, I am delighted to see that the Bahamians are waking up now because they've been sleeping for 50 years, okay? So I am delighted that that has come because my best work is yet to be done. It couldn't happen before until now. The point is, we got to wake up because our nation, we're a sovereign, theocratic, democratic state. That's in your Constitution. But people don't seem to understand the commitment of the Bahamian people. We have become very secular in our thinking. God is to be in our national affairs. I don't hear any reference to God when they're making this agreement with this one, with that one, with the next one. It's all secular. Where's God in all of that? Where's God in our decision-making at the cabinet level? Where's God?
Well, there's some who believe, Mr. Thompson, that is outdated, that they call it being woke nowadays, where, just because that's what they put in the Constitution back in the 1960s, that is no longer relevant to life in the Bahamas in 2022. How would you
Says who?
respond? Well,
Says who?
that's what I asked you now. How would you respond?
I'm glad you brought it up, because you see, the Constitution hasn't changed. It is still there. See, when you remove the foundation stones, Miss Malcolm, on which the nation was built, where the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas didn't want to build a nation without God. That was not their intent, to become so secular. God's name isn't mentioned in the House of Assembly, in the Senate, in the Cabinet. Everything is so secular. We have a secular government. That's what we have today. There may be some persons who may be God-fearing, but you got to bring it out. Let the people see and understand and know where you stand. You can't be hiding. Say, I ain't gonna be hiding behind no closet or be hiding behind somebody, because they can't save you. Something with a break right now. You expect the U.S. to save you. You expect England to save you. You expect some other people to save you. Who are you looking to for your salvation?
But Mr. Thompson, people will argue that not everybody in the nation follows the Christian principle. You have Muslims here, you have Rastafarians here, you have people of different religions. So how does this Constitution benefit them if they don't believe in the God of the Christian?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. See, the Founding Fathers allowed for freedom of thought, freedom of conscience. We haven't reached that part yet, but I can go in depth in that when we get there. But suffice it to say, to answer your question, they have it. It's contained in the Constitution. I'm not particularly interested in them funny things that they have out there. But I'll tell you this. Were it not for those founding principles as outlined in the Constitution, they wouldn't even have it. If you had another religious entity which is anti-God, it'd be a whole different kettle of fish. I always say to people, as long as we have the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas as it is constituted now, the day you see some strange things happen and some other fellas come to the fore and they have a different God, you're going to have problems in your country. Just like in some countries where all kind of terrible things happening and war breaks out. So where does that put the Bahamas? Do they know who's been keeping the Bahamas from the beginning up to now? Do they know? Have we not seen God's unchanging hand? They may say, I can't see God. But we see the evidence of God, his handiwork, his protection. Look what happened this season, the season that just passed. There were people who had fears about Abaco and Grand Bahama being hit again. God said, no, I ain't gonna let them get hit this time. Give them a break. So we take for granted, think it's luck. Ain't no luck. There are people who are close to God, who believe in the principles of the Holy Scriptures. They're God's people. We would be very foolish to remove those hardcore foundation stones on which the nation was built, the kind of character, the kind of qualities we ought to have in our people. It talks about self-discipline. It talks about Christian values. It talks about the rule of law. We have problems with that now, Ms. Malcolm. What if we did not have the Christian church in the Bahamas? What if we did not have the Christian Council? What if the Christian Council played a major role in independence, you know? People fail to forget that. The Christian church played a major role. I didn't say the Christian religion, I said the Christian church.
Right.
Okay? Played a major role. Where were the others? Did you see them there? So we got to go back and check the hardcore facts and tell these people stop talking crap, man. Because the thing is, the Constitution allows for them to exist freely in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. But don't make the mistake of allowing the same limited number of persons to uproot what caused the nation to stand in the first place. Now, we'd be foolish to allow that to happen, not as long as Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson is there. I can hang on till the man come back. But the point is, we need people who are going to stick rigidly with the Constitution so we could keep this place going in the right direction. But we got to make some changes, and we will.
Fascinating. Okay, now, as it relates to 9-1, does it make a difference if the mother is married to a Bahamian or a non-Bahamian? What if the person that she's married to is a Bahamian? It doesn't matter.
No difference. Doesn't matter. Because you see, the child born outside. So you got to notice the terminal outside of the Bahamas to a Bahamian mother.
Right.
Whether naturalized or indigenous. Doesn't make any difference. See, these are the details that Bahamians have to look at very carefully. I pay close attention to details, even more so now that the Bahamian people have waken up from their deep sleep. I am just so excited about this document more now than ever before, because I am learning from what people ask questions, and I always tell them all questions are good questions for me. I love constitutional questions. It gives me, as young as I am, the opportunity to answer them correctly, answer them according to law. I tell people I ain't got no opinion when it comes to constitutional law. Although the Constitution says, Professor, you can have an opinion, but when I speak about this document, I can't tell you that's my opinion. No, I got to tell you what the law says. Now, I might express something. I could say, like, I'll say now, 7-1. We have to do something with 7-1. We can't leave it the way it is because it has been abused by persons who were given responsibility to run our national affairs. We have to stop the hemorrhaging, Ms. Malcolm. So we see that. But we can't let it keep going on and on and on and on. We have to put pressure on the government of the Bahamas to change. And let me tell you something, real pressure will get them to change. I don't care how stubborn they think they are or how difficult an MP may be. God say, okay, I'll take care of him or take care of them. Before you know it, you look around, you see, you got to make a decision. And so the thing is that we work with the government of the Bahamas. We work with the representative in the House of Assembly, and then you got them people in the Senate. That's the upper house. And, you know, people look at them as just rubber stamping everything because, you know, they're not really playing their rightful role as the Constitution would like for them to play. But that's another subject. But I would say this, the pressure must come from the citizenry. Put pressure on your representative in the House of Assembly, because I can be doing the same thing, and on the government of the Bahamas, and you have to be honest and upfront with them. You don't play around with this, because our lives are at stake, Ms. Malcolm. The future of all these thousands of little pigeons behind me. They want a good country to live in. They ain't got no other country. This is their country here. So we got to make it right for them.
All right. Sounds like a plan, but I dare say that it's easier said than done. It's going to take some will to.
I'm glad you talk about the will to do it. And that's why I tell people the Constitution is there for you to lean on it very heavily. Don't mind what them fellas writing them books and little paper there, scraps of paper they have and say they're doing this, they're doing that. Is it constitutional? Anytime when I hear of a law being made or they pass one, first thing that hits my head, is it constitutional? Once it is contrary to the Constitution, it's null and void, right off the top. You ain't got to go no further with that. Now, there are some who say they want to go to the court and take it to court. They have a right to do that. Say, I ain't got no time to be wasting with that. But we need to move quickly to save this place, Miss Malcolm. We are losing badly. I am just so delighted these people decide to wake up after almost 50 years. Which means that I got to take my responsibility even more seriously. I'm just so delighted that they're waking up. Thank God. They're going to move forward now and bring the kind of changes that are essential for the advancement of this nation.
What Daddy Pendergrass say? Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping.
That's
in
what
bed.
the man say. No more sleeping. You got to wake up. Because
right.
we have a very, and let me just add this before I close. We have a very limited window of opportunity to do it. Ain't gonna be no next 56 years. That ain't happening. We done throw away 56.
50.
Well, January the 10th, 1967.
Okay.
Well, 50 years as an independent nation.
Right.
I agree with you.
Right.
But the thing is, we can't go to another 50. Not like this. Not the state we're in. You see the nonsense that's going on in this place?
Yeah, I see.
We have to help the government of the Bahamas. We have to tell them. Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson will tell them when they're right and when they're wrong. Because I know the document, and I got to get as many to know it too, so they can help change this place. Because one man can't do it. The people collectively, that's why I always go to 24-1. I love 24-1. We talk about all kinds of other things, but zero in on that piece, which gives the people the power to protect their interests. Do you have an interest in your constituency? Do you have an interest in this country? Do you have an interest for your children, your grandchildren? Like I said, I got plenty of pictures behind me. I have an interest in their future. And Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson was telling my nephew last night, I'm sitting around and waiting for nobody to do it for me. I will work with people who want to see change in this country. I will work with the government of the Bahamas. I will work my representative. But it got to be constitutional. And they go unconstitutional. No, sorry. That ain't right. That's wrong. Let's get it right according to law. Because the man say, this is a nation of laws. Well, let's prove it then. Let's see the law work for the scores of thousands of Bahamians out there who want a much better way of life than what they're having right now. Let me stop as I go till the man come back.
All right, we got to take a break. On the other side of the break, we're going to turn our attention to Article 9.2.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we thoroughly covered.
Oh, yes, we
9.1.
did. Yeah, we got that one down.
Yeah. Yes, you're in Masterclass Monday. We're looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with mailboat to U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. We are talking about the Constitution of the Bahamas. Now, prior to the break, we dealt with 9.1, but there's half of 9.1 that I didn't read. So let me go ahead and read that. I'll start from the top of 9.1 and then read the second half that I didn't read prior to the break, and then we'll go to 2. Okay, so 9.1 in its entirety says, notwithstanding anything contained in Article 8 of this Constitution, a person born legitimately outside the Bahamas after 9th July 1973, whose mother is a citizen of the Bahamas, shall be entitled, upon making application on his attaining the age of 18 years, and before he attains the age of 21 years, in such manner as be prescribed, to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas. And here's the part I didn't read. Provided that if he is a citizen of some other country other than the Bahamas, he shall not be entitled to be registered as a citizen of the Bahamas under this article unless he renounces his citizenship of that other country, takes the oath of allegiance, and makes and registers such declaration of his intentions concerning residence as may be prescribed. So our questions prior to the break covered that, correct? Even though I didn't read that second half.
Yes, they did cover it.
Okay.
And so I'm happy that you read it, because that provision is there for that person born outside the Bahamas to a Bahamian mother.
Mm-hmm.
But he has to work within the prescribed time. And the renouncing of citizenship of that other country is extremely important. So we can see clearly from the articles of the Constitution doesn't provide for dual citizenship.
Right. Okay, so let's move on to 9.2.
Yes.
9.2, that may be a caller for the show. In the meantime, I'll be waiting for my producer to determine whether or not, is it? Yeah. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hello, good afternoon, Michelle. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay. Mr. Thompson, in reference to the practice of like persons when they caught like illegally in the United States or deported from the United States, like for crimes or whatever, and with their nationality being Haitian, all of them, and to be transported. That's over the weekend. But apparently 2 or 3 of them had the Bahamian passport. I mean, like, why is it that our government would sign like the agreement to have different nationals that are non-Bahamian to be a burden? I mean, criminals to be handed down as if citizens of this country, and the practice has been going on, continue to go on, and it needs to stop.
That's a good question you asked. I have to check to see.
Come a little closer to the mic.
Okay. I have to check to see, caller, exactly what the particulars of the agreement are. I don't have that in front of me. I'm not knowledgeable of it at this point.
And Mr. Thompson,
but
whatever the particulars are, it's caustic for our country.
No, it
like,
is. I agree with you. I certainly agree.
And like, why the Haitian government isn't standing up to accept their citizens back to their country? Because it's hard for me to wrap my mind around a Bahamian who would act in foreign affairs as government of the day, who would sign such an agreement to have foreign nationals offloaded here. Definite burden, definite add to our crime problem, and the government just allow it and hunky-dory, everything is okay. It needs to stop, man. We looking at, this crime thing and all, I'm trying to change the topic, right? Why is it that this illegal migration isn't treated as crime? They try to say it ain't no crime, that ain't crime, that's different, that's a different topic, that's different. We got to wake up and know. Why send this country? And furthermore, Mr. Thompson, earlier you mentioned that like persons who like wanted to get, who are at least from foreign, who go to get their passport, and they have at least who were born here, or claim to be born here, and like that's 18 age benchmark date has been passed, and for 1 year after that, and persons who attain a passport through means like that, even though they hold their passport today. What do you think our government? Our government is the one who granted the passport. What do you think a responsible government would do in instances like that when it goes so much against our Constitution and their persons? We all know the person who said that in 2012 they were granted status of Bahamian status and a passport, and they're an advocate for the Haitian community, and the parents got their passport the same year, even knowing that all of them were illegal. We have to change some things in this country. Like you're saying, it's not 50 years of this foolishness, and we're going to the next 50. For 50 years, from 49 plus years since we had independence, the direction of this country has never been the way that the Bahamian indigenous citizens wanted it to go, because they never came to us with which direction we want this country to head. With all these persons who were in the politics, and the IE, I think Theresa Morphew signed that CEDAW agreement, and other individuals who sign these agreements, foreign agreements, who we don't know nothing about what they do when their party is foreign, or to be in a stupor, and we don't know what they on when they sign. You understand what I'm saying? But then they come to us years later, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that, because we signed this, we signed that, we signature to this, signature to that. So these people who would let's do that certain thing without even coming to us and saying, these treaties would they sign like that and things like that, they're supposed to be null and void. This is nonsense.
Well, caller, I cannot disagree with your sentiments. I agree that the interests of the Bahamian people ought to be taken care of. This is a huge problem. It's been going on for more than 50 years. But I am thankful that the Bahamian people are now waking up to what's happening. Now, what has to happen for Bahamian to act and make sound decisions and good judgments? They have to be knowledgeable. That's why you see me come every Monday to explain in simple, basic, fundamental language what the supreme law says. People have to go by the law. See, they can't do nothing with you if you go by the Constitution. See, they can never be able to touch me because I'm always constitutional. Because I can ask them plainly, is that according to the Constitution? If it ain't according to the Constitution, that's contrary. So I'm saying to you, Bahamians have to know their rights, freedoms, and privileges to be able to win this fight, and we can win it. We can put the kind of pressure on the government, the likes they've never seen before. We haven't done that as Bahamians, you know. We've been playing games.
Yeah.
The puppy gonna lick your mouth when you play with the puppy, right?
Yeah,
That's what happens, yes. So let me make my point. What I'm saying is, I understand, and I'm delighted that you brought up your sentiments. But the point is, we have to take the necessary steps. Because I'm going to great lengths to explain to the Bahamian people the Constitution of the Commonwealth. Because see, I expect them to do something. I will be calling on them to do something. This is not no exercise for my health, you know. I got thousands of persons out there who want a better way of life, and we can get it. We ain't gonna be sitting here allowing people to throw things on top of us.
People just a franchise by the top of the people who come in. They looking for a better way of life. But if you look at how they're living right now, they're living above and beyond what Bahamians are living. And I noticed that there's a particular school. I mean, like they should be mandated to have like all children educated, you know, be it illegal or legal, right? Jeff Lloyd, he made sure mix everything up good, right? But you know what, Mr. Thompson, tell me if this is supposed to be so.
I need us to stay on track, though, caller, because you're taking up a lot of time talking about immigration issues, and we. Really
but I mean, this is the whole thing based on our Constitution.
Yeah.
And then like certain agreements where they signed with unconstitutional. I mean, basically, to me, that's what it seems to be. I don't know how Mr. Thompson feel about it.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't want this to go the direction of being completely about.
When I first came on, I was supposed to tell you, Michelle, I couldn't go to the passenger of your father. Last week, I was supposed to go up, and I was so busy, I couldn't reach my phone, and I couldn't go to the passenger of your father.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Thompson, but I mean, like, you know, anyway, I might as well go because Michelle already told me that I've already been too long running on.
No, it's just that I don't want us to lose focus on what we're really talking about today.
No, I mean, Michelle, you're talking about this whole thing is Article 7. What is it all about?
I understand that, but we're on Article 9.2 now. We're on past 7, and you're going down the road about what the former Minister of Education doing.
I know, I no man. They just said, but you know, my irony was what I said before you go on and try to twist my thoughts, Michelle. It's that. How is it that we are mandated to have like all these foreign nationals who are not even legal to be in our schools and training?
But again, that's a different topic. Yeah. Nothing got to do with what we're talking about today.
Okay.
So we need to stay focused.
Okay, I ain't focused like on, Michelle. Have a nice day.
Thanks for calling.
No, but I think, Ms. Malcolm, sometimes people get a little mixed up.
No, I understand
and I understand it too. But the thing is, if we're going to solve the problem, see, I'm looking for solutions now.
Right.
We've had 50 years of where we've been grappling with this. Now we have to bring solid solutions to the table. We have to tell the government of the Bahamas where they are wrong. And we have to point it out to them and let them see what is in our best interest. We can't just let it keep going like this.
Right.
But if we are not properly educated on the Constitution, we're going to find ourselves spinning wheels for another 50 years, which cannot happen.
Right.
We don't need that.
Okay. So let's get back on track. Article 9.2. Article 9.2, I will read it. It says, where a person cannot renounce his citizenship of some other country under the law of that country, he may instead make such declaration concerning that citizenship as may be prescribed. Yeah. I'll read it again. Where a person cannot renounce the citizenship of some other country under the law of that country, he may instead make such declaration concerning that citizenship as may be prescribed. What does that mean exactly?
I am glad the Founding Fathers put that in there because, see, this is where the conflict comes in, where it may very well be that particular personality, because of the law of that particular country, cannot renounce his citizenship.
Right.
Now, a determination has to be made by us in this country where we are going to proceed, because our Constitution doesn't allow for duality. So we know that right off the top. So the government of the Bahamas has to make some hard, firm decisions to protect our interests. They're protecting their interests. We have to protect ours. We just can't be signing on to all kinds of things and then come to us and say, we have to do this, we have to do that, because someone made some mistakes in the past, which may be unconstitutional.
Right.
And so we have to look at it constitutionally. Is it in our best interest? Is it going to help us by having this flood of people as we have now, taking up our space, taking up space in our schools, taking up space in our community, taking up space in our hospital? I even hear now they got to put some people in another place because they got to go fix Princess Margaret Hospital. We have to look at our situation and make sound decisions and good judgment. We have to help the government to do it because they may have so many different things on their head, and some of them may be too big to ask ask for help. But we have to help them in our best interest. Have we ever thought about that? Are we going to just sit back and say, let them work it out? And ain't nothing get worked out. We're getting bamboozled all over. And so the thing is, we have to help that government, this current administration, because there are some things that are going on right now where ministers have been contradicting one another in statements that they have made. Why are we allowing this to happen? Are we going to just sit back and say, let them work it out? And it never is worked out because we fail to say to the government of the Bahamas, that is not in our best interest. That's not appropriate for us. And then give them the possible solution. Don't just condemn them. I don't like to condemn people. We shouldn't condemn them. See, I don't condemn the Bahamian people for after 50 years they decide to wake up, I'm just so delighted that they did. I think it's a move of God for me to get some things done, Ms. Malcolm, that I wanted to do a long time, but I can't do it unless the people are ready. But I'm going to make sure with as much help the Lord allows me to have, I can make sure they be ready because I want to see changes in this country, constitutional changes, good things happening for the scores of thousands of Bahamians who are new to this place. They are misguided. They have been misguided, and we got to help them. And let's not knock them in a negative way, because I don't ever do that. I just simply say they don't know. Now, after they done get to know, I expect them to do better.
Right.
So we got to bring them along. You can't keep beating and knocking them down, because the fella has been falling down so many times, people kick him all over the place. See, they can't do that with Professor Thompson. In no agency in this government. Because I'm not going to tolerate it. I'll fight you. They'll get a good fight. And I can win. I can tell them from day one, I am going to win the fight. So you got to know what you're doing. But the thing is that many just fall down and give up because they're not strong. They didn't grow up like how I grew up. I always had mommy and daddy from that time right up to now. But I'm just simply saying that there are people who don't understand. They have been fed a lot of misinformation, and all kinds of things have been said about the Constitution, which are not true. Never was true. But it's things that people have cooked up in their head, and either they don't like this, they don't like that. But you have to take the Constitution as is. And where changes ought to be made, it must be done orderly. It must be done according to law. And if we have it that way, because we are a nation of laws, the Attorney General said that, so I agree with him on that point. Now we have to see the laws, statute laws and constitutional laws work for the Bahamian people. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm going to be pushing for.
Okay, so looking at Article 9.2, what may be the cause why a person cannot renounce citizenship?
Well, the thing is that that particular country may have some specific things in place that apply to their country in their best interest. They're not thinking about our best interests.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in our country, persons who have been allowed to sit on these different committees and boards, whatever they have, signing things, never consulted with the Bahamian people. But this is what's in their head. So how could you go and sign all these agreements, never check the Constitution, don't even understand the Constitution, because Article 2 comes prominently in my head when I hear these funny things.
Right.
But then you're saying, yes, but we signed it. We got to do this. We got to do that. I want you to speak about that with the Constitution. The Constitution is supreme, not CEDAW, not them other things that them people sign. They had no part in that. You go onto the people table and say, boy, this look good. I can sign it. But you didn't check the supreme law of the land. Miss Malcolm, this is a serious mistake that the Bahamian people are, well, let's say those persons who purported to be acting on behalf of the Bahamian people.
Right.
It certainly ain't me, because I ain't signing them kind of funny things. Nor did the woman in Baintown with those 5 boys, or the man in Foxhill with 6 daughters, or the woman in Engliston with them 4 grown disabled children. They had nothing to do with that. And there's thousands of them like that out there. They don't even know what CEDAW is all about.
Right.
And them other things that they sign. But what has happened is we have to correct those things. And we have to say to the government of the Bahamas, if it is contrary to Article 2 of this Constitution, we must knock it out. It's null and void. It means nothing.
So what should an individual do? What options would they have if they find themselves in a position where they cannot renounce that citizenship?
That's a good question. What options they have.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly, when I look at the Constitution, I don't see them getting citizenship. That's point number 1. Because the Constitution doesn't allow for it. Now, they will have to make a determination. Either they're going to renounce, although they can make a decision now, and they will make a decision what they think is good in their best interest. But if you want to be, see, this is the problem why I am happy that the Constitution is not in favor of duality of citizenship. Because, Miss Malcolm, all I can do is create problems. I only got one, you know. And the thing is, I'm going to be loyal to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. This is my country. I only got one. I won't be loyal to them other people. I'm not saying I wouldn't break their laws. I ain't going that far. But to have a strong country, Ms. Malcolm, where you have people with all kinds of citizenship, this one with this one with that, all you have is confusion. It's a recipe for disaster. And you're not going to have that strong commitment and loyalty and dedication that we ought to have as spelled out in our Constitution. But we got to fight for it. The Constitution didn't change. They didn't say now, we got all these problems with self-discipline. Self-discipline from the individual, the family, the constituency, the community. Do you know how wonderful it would be if we had a national commitment to self-discipline? No government has ever done that. They never even pushed it. That's why we got so much indiscipline at the traffic light. And so many other things, people speaking and cursing at one another. Simple, basic, fundamental things. I just have to tell people in my area all the time when they get on. Nowadays, listen to me now. They can cuss me out and carry on back in my presence. They might do it when I'm not around. But they listen. I'm happy that they listen. And so the thing is, I have a good working relationship with them, and I have a good working relationship with people in all these different constituencies. See, I worked on that for 50 years. So while they were sleeping, I was working on it. So now that they're awake, praise God, we could now move in harmony and in peace. But they need help, they need guidance, they need instruction. And that's where the Constitution comes in to guide them. And it has to be done. Let me add this while it's in my head. It has to be done by persons who know, K-N-O-W, know this Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I just love this document. It's a wonderful document. It's a good document. And we need to work with it. We need to make some changes to it. That's another story altogether. But we have to work with what we have. And Ms. Malcolm, I believe there's enough in there to make any number of changes that can take us to the point where we can make some changes in the document.
All right. We are going to take one more break. We still are in Article 9.2 of the Constitution, so we're going to continue with that. And then time permitting, we may move to 9.3, depending on how quickly we get through the rest of 9. So be in, like and share the show. Let everybody know that GPS is on the air on this Masterclass Monday. We're talking about the Constitution of the Bahamas. And if you want to learn more about the details of our supreme law, this is the place to be.
Amen.
This is GPS. We'll be back after this.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Longevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Longevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paint, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Longevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. And we are going through the Constitution of the Bahamas line by line, article by article. The telephone numbers to call: 3260271, 3260271. One more time: 3260271 or 3260272. 3260272. 3260272. And the WhatsApp line for text messages only: 8010271. Hand me the text line, please, Professor, right here, the telephone. I didn't even check it to see if any messages came through. 8010271 is the WhatsApp line if you want to send us a text message. Please do not call. Jason is from Daddy. Please do not call. Okay, I got it. Please do not call the WhatsApp line. Please don't send any voice notes to the WhatsApp line because we cannot get you on the air if you do. It's for text messages only. And you'd be surprised how many times I say that.
Oh, yeah.
And every
You said
week,
that 20 times.
every week just about, we got somebody who does exactly what we say not to do. Okay, so we're talking to Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson, about the Constitution of the Bahamas. We're in Article 9(2) of the Constitution. And what I want to find out from you, Professor, is, okay, so we've got somebody who, for whatever reason, had double citizenship, which dual citizenship, which we know the Constitution does not support.
Yes.
And so they would have to give up one to accept the Bahamian citizenship. And they would be required to make a declaration that they were renouncing the citizenship of the other country. Now, does making such a declaration that they are unable to renounce, if for some reason they cannot, qualify them for anything else?
Nothing.
Wow. Okay.
Because the thing is, if they are going to go by that law, fine, that's the law of that country.
Mhm.
That's not the law of this country.
Okay.
So there's a difference right there. So this is where the conflict comes in, and the person has to understand that. There isn't anything for them. Nothing at all, because we don't support dual citizenship, not this Constitution.
Wow.
And see, the thing is, Ms. Malcolm, we've been playing along with this for so long
Mm-hmm.
that we've allowed, see, the fella been stealing for the last 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he feels now, child, I've been stealing so long now, it's habit.
I could keep stealing.
I could keep stealing.
Since they let me get away with it.
Exactly. Now, with the Constitution, we got to plug that hole and say no. We have to tell them no. You make up your mind. See, we have to put them in a position where they make up their own mind.
Mhm.
Do you want this or do you want that? We respect your choice. We respect it. You wait till we get further down. You're going to see some things.
Mhm.
But my sister, she threw some questions at me today. And I say, Granny, they're good questions. I love it. I love them kind of questions. Constitutional questions intrigue me.
Mhm.
But I hadn't thought of it in the light she thought of it. And she said, does the Constitution say that? I said, yes, it does. I said, I was surprised myself when I first got to know it. But that's what it says.
Right.
But such is life.
Okay. All right. I think we can turn to Article 9(3) at this point.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Jason, I need you to take my camera out of the stream. Just remove, yeah, right there. Just, okay. So that I can go to the Constitution to read. All right. So Article 3 says, Article 9(3) says, any application for registration under this article shall be subject to exceptions or qualifications as may be prescribed in the interest of national security or public policy. I'll read that again. Any application for registration under this article shall be subject to such exceptions or qualifications as may be prescribed in the interest of national security or public policy. What does that mean exactly?
That's a good question that you asked there, because you got two things mentioned.
Right.
It says
You can put me back in now, Jason.
Exceptions or questions. Public policy
On national security.
or national security.
Right, right.
It hinges on those two, because national security is extremely important to the welfare of the Bahamian people.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't or ought not to have just any and everybody. That's why we have to carefully examine persons who say they want to be citizens. We got to check out their background. There may be some things that may have been overlooked,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be to the detriment of the Bahamian people. And we should do our utmost best to make sure that the possibility of that happening is zero.
Okay.
But there are times when, because we don't pay attention to detail, things slip.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have something, national security, the safety and protection of this country, we got a fellow who's a known terrorist or is affiliated with a group that may not be so well known. You want such a person to be a citizen of your country? I just put the question there, and people could think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, we want to have, well, I would put it this way, we ought to have people who are going to build up the country. Because there are people who get citizenship or want citizenship in certain countries, not for the interest of the Bahamian people, or the interest of that particular country.
Mm-hmm.
It is for their own selfish purposes. We've seen hardcore evidence of this in so many countries around the world, where they come and do a lot of damage in that country, and it's hard for the country to recuperate from it, although they say we're resilient people. But then the point is, if you can avoid it, why not do so? That's where detailed attention is important. National security, the safety of the nation. We can't take that lightly.
So in other words, somebody may qualify according to 9.1 and 9.2,
Yes.
but that person may be a risk.
A risk to the country.
So at that point, according to the Constitution, that person's application could be refused, even though they qualify according to 9.1 and 9.2 and the rest of the Constitution.
Because you see, provided that, see, people got to remember that now, provided that this particular situation is there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it says entitlement, even though it puts all that in there, but you got to put the whole thing together. That's why I tell people, when you look at the Constitution, you got to see it from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at these articles about citizenship, we got plenty of them right in there. You got to look at it from the beginning, what the Constitution says, coming right on down. It's an orderly line. There are different ways people can qualify for citizenship. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's all constitutional.
Right.
But there are some things specific in certain articles of the Constitution which specifically say, which would prohibit a person who applies, but then after checking thoroughly, and you got to do some real deep checking on these people, you can't take nothing for granted. Because unfortunately, lies are being told all the time, and you can't look at fellas and say, oh, he's a good fella. No. We have to protect the people. See, the people of the Bahamas expect the government of the Bahamas to act in their best interest. In other words, they have a responsibility to make sure that whoever becomes a citizen is helpful to the Bahamian people.
Right.
Now, in a lot of cases, that's not true. Because some people, they are citizens, they got that paper in their hand, they got their passport, they're not loyal to this place. So how did they get it? Because we didn't do our homework.
Mm.
They show their real colors after you put the paper in there. But now we could do something about that,
Mm-hmm.
But I can leave that for now. But we could do something about that. And Bahamians need to understand and know that. We ain't got to sit there and wallow in it. Use a fraudster. You played games on us, So now action has to be taken to deal with you. So I'll just leave that right there. And we'll come to that further down in the Constitution.
So there's something that addresses that.
Oh
in the
yes.
document.
Oh, yes, indeed. Because my sister asked me about the things about that today.
Right.
And she herself was surprised as to what I say. I was surprised myself too. But then I got to be constitutionally correct.
Mm-hmm.
Because I ever going against the Constitution. This Constitution protects me.
Right.
It protects my rights, my freedoms, it ain't something I put in my back pocket and say, boy, I can pull it out when I need it. No. I don't want that kind of Constitution. The Constitution must be fair to every living soul in the Commonwealth of Bahamas. And I think the founding fathers and mothers of this country did an excellent job. I just admire the work of the founding fathers of this country, where they put this wonderful document together for the benefit of the people. Now, what we have to do is, we know some things have to be dealt with. They're not around today in 2022. We're here, so we have to make those appropriate changes that are to our advantage, not to somebody else's advantage.
Right.
So we can't have people just telling us this, telling us that, telling us the next thing. Do this, do that, do the next thing. No. In a case like that, no. Such a person should not have citizenship.
What is meant by public policy?
Public policy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. Now, a policy, I'll give an example of it. Let's say there should be a quota, especially related to citizenship. Now, I don't know whether they have a real quota, because see, nothing has ever been made public.
Right.
Because Malcolm, I got to check on these things because they ain't saying nothing to nobody. But as a professor, I need to know so I could tell the Bahamian people we ain't got none. And if we ain't got none, we need one. You just can't keep adding to the point where the indigenous population is outnumbered. Because I heard a man say, there's 150,000 of them. So where does that leave the indigenous Bahamian? Where is he? We have to put a quota. If there isn't one, I can find out whether there is, what this policy is, because we need some policies in place that benefit us, Bahamians, not them other fellas. The government will look at it objectively and listen to the people and say, yes, we have to make some changes where necessary to deal with it.
Who determines, though, what is public policy? Who determines that?
The government would make that determination. See, it is their duty to do it as the government of the Bahamas. They're responsible for the national development of the Bahamian people, the national protection of Bahamian people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a government ought to be doing. I always say to people, what is the purpose of a government? Not there to collect money, not to say you're a minister of health or minister of education or minister of works and collect big money, but you're not protecting the interests of our people that we could live a much better way of life. Because getting a bag of candy or some chicken, or, well, I heard one fellow say he giving out Christmas presents, which he could do that. But the people need more than that from representation. When I deal with representation, I go into all those articles in the Constitution that deal specifically with representation, because, Ms. Malcolm, we need more than just turkey or ham at Christmas. But I had a fellow say he can be there every Christmas to give children presents. Which is fine if he wants to do that. I got no problem with that. But if that's all there is, and we got all these long-standing problems, that's why we need policy and we need law. But I prefer the law, though. Because the policy could be here today, this morning, and then this afternoon it changed. That could happen. So I ain't got too much faith in it like that. But I think we need some laws in place to deal with some specific things as it relates to our national development. But the Constitution says public policy, well, fine. But then let's make sure the policy is in our best interest and not helping some other people when them other fellas say, well, see, you all signed to do this. And then the government say, yeah, we signed that. But nobody checks the Constitution. Say, you know something? Is that policy, is that thing what we signed right or wrong? Because see, I can always look at it and say, is it constitutional? Anytime that I see any law, is that constitutional? That's just how my brain works. Because I got to start with something that is strong. The strongest law in this country is the Constitution of the Commonwealth. Of course, the Bible, the Holy Bible is even stronger than that because the Constitution came out from the Holy Bible. But all I'm saying is, because we believe in God. God is our God, the God of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We must never forget that. We must not allow the government to be so secular that the knowledge of God, the way of God, the word of God has no room in the national psyche of the Bahamian people.
But what can the citizens do, though, Professor? I know you keep saying that, you know, the power is in our hands, but realistically, how can citizens contribute to cause the government to have this effective national security and public policy we're talking about?
I'm happy you asked that. Now, listen, I'm going to put it this way. You know something? It would be better if we make wise choices when the opportunity presents itself. Now, it's going to take a whole lot to get into that, but I just want to say it briefly. It is better to do it that way so we don't have to be involved like how we are now with all this nonsense that's going on in the country. This one behaving that way, that one behaving that way. We ain't sure whether you can do this. No. The quality of the people you have, we have to make better choices in representation. Now, that's a whole area. Party representation, parliamentary representation. Unfortunately, Ms. Malcolm, for 56 years, they didn't get it right. We all mix up. Now, by the grace of God, I'm going to straighten that out for the Bahamian people because I go in very deep into that. Very, very deep from the supreme law of the land because the supreme law allows for both. Just like you work for BDC, but you also go to St. Barnabas Church, right? But you don't get mixed up. On a Sunday morning, you in St. Barnabas Church. Monday morning at 9 o'clock, you at BDC. And you don't get that mixed up. You may also be a member of a lodge. You may be a member of a club. But here's one person participating in 4 or 5 different things. The person never get mixed up. Child, I ain't get mixed up. Well, then, how come when it comes to choosing a representative, and it's going to take a lot to get this into the psyche of the Bahamian people, because we've been mixed up for 56 years. We have to make sound decisions and good judgments. We have to do that. See, if we do that from the beginning, then we will have better representation in the House of Assembly. We'll have some better senators too also. And we'll have a better cabinet. Right now, all kind of mixing up. In the House, in the Senate, in the cabinet. Now, Bahamians have to avoid it, and I'm going to show them from the Constitution how they can change it. Because you see, that's the only way for it to be done. But we allow other things to get in the way, which are unimportant. Just like you never get mixed up when you go to St. Barnabas Church on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock, and you go to BTC 8 o'clock Monday morning. And you've been doing that for years, Ms. Malcolm. That's how it will be when I finish with the baby.
Well, I had a meeting with a school's name I'll not call at the time. And he made a very, very important point in our conversation. One of the things that he said is that the Bahamas is becoming like what we see also happening in the United States, where when it comes to our support of these various political parties, it's no longer support of a party, but it's a cult.
Okay.
It's not. It's even deeper than I call it tribalism, but he described it as a cult. And if you know anything, if you join a cult, you deny truth, you deny everything that makes sense at the expense of you being a part of that cult.
Yes, that's dangerous.
But that is where we are.
No, I'm not
If we're
gonna-
not there, we're headed there.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with the sentiment.
So the question is, are we as a people organized enough to take effective action as long as we are all members of these cults, whether it's the PLP cult or the F&M cult or the coalition cult? It's true what he said. It's like we're members of cults.
Good. As long as we stay that way, no, we will not be able to progress. Now, that I'm happy that you brought up his view. It's a serious thing.
Yeah.
The only way you can answer that is from the Constitution. People have to learn that there are certain things. That's why you got to go back to why this nation was founded.
Mm-hmm.
What are your foundation stones? What are the principles you ought to be living by? I don't know of any government that has ever done a program, national commitment to self-discipline, national commitment to unity, national commitment to the rule of law.
Mm-hmm.
It has never happened in 56 years. Well, let's say 50 years since we became a nation. But, so does that mean we just roll over and die? What has to happen where the government of the Bahamas has gone wrong? The people of the country, enough of them, 51% or more of them, have to become righteous in their dealings one with another,
Mm-hmm.
in their constituency, in their family, in their community. That's the thing we need to do, because the Constitution tells us how to do that. But we can't just keep complaining. Yes, I am not saying that people shouldn't complain,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to take action now. That's why I come here every Monday, by the grace of God. I'm not here for my health. I can do some other things for my health. But I see the need now more than ever. Child, please, these people then wake up. I have to work even harder now to make sure that they get the message and bring about the kind of organized effort to bring change. That's possible. Now, you can still be a member of these particular entities, just like the person is a large member. They belong to the Barnabas Church. They may be in the men's group. They may have a community group where they live. They're all members. That one person is member of 4 or 5 different entities,
Right.
but he doesn't get mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to BTC, he right there Monday morning. When it comes to the Barnabas Church, he right there 11 o'clock Sunday morning. Pastor could look for him coming. But he's there. So how is it, Ms. Malcolm, that we are so good at that, doing it consistently for years, and we never get mixed up? Now, that's a positive thing that no one has expounded except myself. I don't know if anyone else is doing it. But see, I know basic things that people are involved with every day of their life to get them to see the need for real, genuine change. That's why I tell people I could get on well with these husbands and wives, and I love the wives, I love the husbands. Nothing personal. And the men know that too. But I don't have a problem getting on with them. Now, some of them will tell you some things which you can't say nothing to nobody, so you got to let that die.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is, well, then, if you could do that, you're in St. Barnabas Church, you go to BTC, you member that club, you member of all these different groups, and you don't get nothing mixed up. So how come when it comes to this particular issue, all of a sudden we all confused?
Mr. Thompson, you are going against decades of getting us to this cult position.
Yes, ma'am.
You fighting up against that battle been going on now for at least 5 decades.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. You're correct.
So how are we going to now? And I agree with you 1,000%, 1,000%. But in this little town, if you decide that you are going to be strong and courageous Like the Lord tells Joshua to be strong and courageous.
the man saying.
Because if you're going to cross over into this promised land, you got to be strong and courageous. So you decide to be strong and courageous, and you put your neck out there, and everybody else cheering you on, but they ain't willing to join you in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do?
I'm glad you put it that way. I'll go back to 1967, January the 10th. It was felt prior to January the 10th, 1967. That which existed at that time seemed to be so impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Because those who were involved in the fight had only bit of money, pot of money,
Mm-hmm.
count salad money, against some giants who had millions.
Mm-hmm.
And they controlled everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to them? They came crashing down because of God. We knew, and I was right there when it happened, that we couldn't do it without God. Same thing today. Yes, we have different problems. Yes, we have a multiplicity of conflicts. Yes, we do. But God is the stabling factor. And I'm depending on God. See, God's going to give me that 51% or more.
All
You only
right.
could get everybody, just like in 67.
We got to
wasn't
wrap it up.
everybody.
We got to wrap it up. It's 4 o'clock.
Oh, I'm sorry. Boy, you see how I get carried away?
Yeah, but that's
me.
all right. That's why you're
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Good, yeah.
So we gotta wrap this up. Time is gone. But when we come back next week, Monday, God's Spare Life, we will look at Article 10.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll give you an opportunity then to talk more about how we can
Oh, yes.
break through this
I want to.
tribalistic, cultish attitude.
But let me just say this.
No,
quickly.
we don't have time.
Oh, we don't have time.
It's already
Okay,
after
thank
4
you.
o'clock. We got to
After
go.
4.
We've passed our time. Thank you so much, Professor, for being here. I'm Michelle
ma'am.
Malcolm. Time is gone. I'll see you guys, God willing, tomorrow here on GPS. Take care and have a good afternoon.
Mhm.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions